Hello and welcome. Today is March the 5th, 2021. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the voice of Aggroed. I am joined by my fellow founder, Yabapmatt, or Yabapmatt, or just Yaba, or just Matt. Matt, do you want to say hi to the people?
Hello, everybody, and just Matt is fine.
All right. So, these are the things that we do every single week. We try to answer questions, give some update on where things are going and what we're working on, and just try to provide the community as much information as possible. I've gone through and had a couple, gave a presentation this week, had a whole bunch of meetings about some bigger plans for March. There's a promotion scheduled. Don't want to go. I can't spill all the beans just yet, but I do think that March is going to be a pretty fun month. Sorry that I have to be a little bit held back, but there are some cool marketing projects in the works and promotional events. So, but they're still a little bit hush hush. So, but I think everybody will be happy, or nobody's ever happy in blockchain, but you will be at least shortly satisfied sometime this week. Matt, do you want to talk through any of the big picture development stuff that's on the, coming to fruition, or big plans, or what's going to roll out soon, or success of anything that recently rolled out, stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll just give a quick overview of the stuff that's in process. So the Cryptomancer is working on the guild tournaments or guild brawls, and those are coming along really well. And we expect to release, the first version of them this month. And then there's some additional features and things that we're gonna be adding, after the initial release over the coming months. But that should be pretty exciting. So get your dark energy crystals ready. There'll be some new guild buildings to update, and you can go bash on the other guilds. And then also, so we have a bunch of promotions, like the Brave promotion that was announced earlier this week. So there's some work to do there to get the tournaments and the promotions for that ready. As Aggroed mentioned, there's some upcoming promotions that haven't been announced yet that we have work to do for. There's also design for the land expansion is moving forward, and I think the map stuff is looking really nice. So that's something to look forward to in Q2. And then there is the rental system, which is still in progress. Should also hopefully be maybe this month or next month. So I think the iOS mobile app is still almost ready. So I actually need to get an update on that probably later today, but hopefully that should be submitted really soon to the App Store. Yeah, and then we're also working on tournaments / guild wars to be added into mobile, but those are going to be some bigger projects that'll take a little while. So I think I've covered most of the major things, but let me know if I missed anything.
No, I think that's a good piece for now. So I do see a couple questions. Why don't we go to those, and then we can intersperse some thoughts if need be. So Paul TRX is asking, do you know an easy way to buy Hive if you live in the United States? Usually that involves exchanges. Coinbase doesn't list it directly. I guess Kraken and Binance?
Bittrex. I don't know, their wallets seem to be down a lot, but that's the one I would use most often if you live in the USA. I mean, you can also just use a VPN and use Binance, but I'm not recommending that, but it's pretty easy to do.
Paul is also asking, how is adding dice packs coming to loot chests?
It's not something I've gotten to yet. That's just a really minor thing. So, and I also want to take some time to just consider that before we just add it. How many would be given out, how that changes the supply equation and DEC. that would have been burnt to get those dice that are now given out as rewards. So it's just not a high priority.
I see the question from Byzantinist. When will we know how much BAT is needed for the various bronze, gold, and max level tournaments that are coming up, specifically from the Brave promotion that we're doing?
Yeah, I'm hoping we make those tournaments. I was hoping today. At this point, it looks like maybe tomorrow. But I think we're just waiting to hear back from the Brave folks on that one. I would like for the bronze tournament to just be one bat. So it's basically if you hold anything, you'll be able to get into the bronze. But for the gold and champion level tournaments, I'm gonna need to hear from the Brave team what they suggest.
Dave is asking, at one point 36 months ago, Matt mentioned two things regarding rewards. He said he would analyze the results and possible update the rewards for all the leagues. I get the idea there would be an increase, and there was a talk about inserting dice into rewards, either in place of or in addition to Untamed packs. Can you comment?
Yeah, so we've definitely looked at the rewards since the collection power update was released, and I think there are opportunities to potentially increase the rewards. But a couple of things we did was, for example, we added the 100 million dark energy crystal pool for liquidity providers on Uniswap, and I think we're still looking into how to expand that to like diesel pools and potentially Binance Chain. So in when you're looking at rewards, you have to take the overall scheme of all the rewards given out in the game. So that is a big increase in rewards that were added, although they're not from ranked battles, but it did increase the overall rewards for the game that are given out. So what I was planning to do was kind of wait until the guild tournaments were released, the guild brawls, sorry, that's the official name, and then see how much dark energy crystals are burned upgrading the new buildings, and then that might give us more opportunity to add more rewards, because ultimately more rewards end up being more dark energy crystal inflation or tokens that get put on the market. And I just really don't think right now is the best time to be doing that, until we add more sinks, again, because we also added the new rewards for the liquidity providers. So that's where I'm at on that. I just mentioned about dice in rewards. It's one of those small things, so that hasn't been high on the priority list, but if a bunch of people are waiting for that and would really like that, then we could try to just bump it up and do that in the interim. So sorry for the long response there, but
Chris is asking, will guild leaderboards mean something in the future? For example, top guild during the season wins X amount of packs towards each user in the guild.
Do you want to talk about the guild wars?
Yeah,
and how that will work?
There's an entire system of you earn crowns. So the guild earns crowns. That's sort of the new guild-specific currency. It is held by the guild, and you need that in a couple different places. For the different buildings that we're introducing, you're going to need your crowns. So you can't just come in and be, I have 8 million DEC and I'm just going to buy everything. You actually have to participate. You have to rank up, and those tokens are not transferable. So you can spend them to get buildings, but you can't buy and sell and move across the guilds. So there's kind of a time constraint now, or a participation amount that's required, and then some of the the initial stuff is just the guild buildings that you're going to need. There is a guild shop. We'll be adding things to it. Some of that we're thinking will be tied to land. Some of that will be some gladiator cards that are coming. So there's a bevy of things, but most of that is tied to specifically what happens to your guild. It is held by the guild, and the benefits are to the guild, and a lot of that won't just necessarily continue down to each individual person. Anything to add to that, Matt?
Well, yeah, just to be clear, so the question was about the guild leaderboards, which is like the current ranking of guilds. So we don't plan for that to have any, specific meaning. But once the guild brawls are released, then the top guilds in the guild brawls will earn more of the crowns, which will allow you to get more stuff to improve your guild and potentially improve your land for all guild members and things like that.
Yeah, maybe
There was also a previous question just about, is there a Splinterlands white paper? Currently there's not a white paper. I mean, we mostly just have the FAQ section on the website, which I know is not, doesn't answer everything. But a white paper is something we definitely want to put out in the not too distant future, especially as we keep adding more stuff and include lands. So it's in progress in the very early stages.
Any update on dealing with... Byzantinist is asking, any update on dealing with the bots that are automatically fleeing battles in ranked, which leads to a poor user experience, even if it's a free win?
So it's hard to prevent people from making bad bots, but I have offered to help people who need help in, coding their bots or figuring out if there's like errors or issues with them, but I haven't really got much response to that yet. But I am looking into, something that will penalize accounts in some way if they, flee too much, which can kind of target bots who will surrender or flee for different reasons than actual players. So it's basically something like, if they have too many surrenders within a relatively short period of time or within their last X battles, it'll make it so they can't play for, an hour or whatever the time period is. So just that way, if there's some like poorly programmed bot that's causing problems, it'll be limited on, how many battles it can play until it gets fixed. So that's my plan there. Don't have a time frame on that though. Should I just jump to the diesel pool question?
The question is, what's the status of the diesel pool stuff on Hive Engine? The diesel pools are out. They're working. They're functioning. They're slowly building, liquidity. The reward contract, I think, is supposed to come out this week. And it'll take a little bit to get a front end for that too, so that users can put that in. But on the back end, it should be available this week for, at least for developers and programmers, to be able to start rewarding people that are contributing liquidity to the pools. So that's the Hive Engine side of that. Matt, do you want to talk some about the Splinterlands side of that?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been working on the technical integration for the diesel pools to be able to give out rewards like we do for the Uniswap pools. That should be pretty easy. Then what I'm thinking, and the plan is to kind of get community feedback on it, is to just extend the 100 million dark energy crystal rewards. Like, just take that one reward pool and allow it to apply to any number of pools, like official pools that we support. So currently it's split 50-50 between the Ether pool and the DAI pool on Uniswap. But the idea would be to just have the rewards be based on the dollar value of liquidity provided across any official pool. So let's say if we had a Binance chain pool and we have a Diesel pool and we have the Uniswap pools, it's just, $1 provided in any pool anywhere would give you, that portion of the rewards compared to the total dollar value that's provided across all the pools. So that's kind of the thinking right now. And it's kind of a way to keep it fair and also allow for new pools to be added or changed, whenever is necessary, without having to keep going back and adjusting the reward system. So, we're gonna get some feedback from people on that, make an announcement post about it before anything actually gets changed. But that's just what the thinking is right now.
So Steve R or Stever82's question, if we have tokens in the pool, does adding more reset the bonus for time? So maybe you could talk about how the time bonus works, and then talk about how adding or removing tokens would reset the time bonus.
Yeah, so The bonus just goes from 0 to 100%. So 100% would be like 2x the rewards over 100 days. So 1% a day. And the idea there is just to encourage people to stay in the pool, and keep liquidity in the pool for longer. So if someone new comes into the pool, today, someone who's been in the pool for 100 days would get 2x the rewards, for the amount of liquidity they've added compared to the new person. And then after the next 100 days, the new person would be up to the same bonus level and equal rewards. Adding more doesn't reset it to 0, but it just resets it proportionally. So you don't, if you just increase your rewards, you won't, increase the liquidity you're providing, that new liquidity won't immediately get, the full 100% boost. It'll just, it'll reset your boost down, like relative to how much you've added. We explain all this better in one of the initial posts.
If you put in $1 and wait 100 days, and then you put in $1 million, you'll basally be back at the day one, because it's relative. Yeah. So it's weighted.
Think a better example is if you put in $1,000, and then after 100 days you add another $1,000. I think it'll drop the boost down to 50%, and then it'll be another 50 days before it gets back up to 100%. So it's just proportional.
All right. Question: any plans to add more side challenges on the daily challenges to stop bot accounts always having an advantage in getting rewards?
I'm not sure what that exactly means.
I think he's talking quests, daily quests, maybe different types of daily quests.
Yeah, that's also the next question. I'm not sure how that stops bot accounts or how bot accounts specifically have an advantage in getting rewards right now as it relates to the daily quests. But if you can clarify the idea of side challenges or how that would work, then we're always interested in the ideas and feedback. So,
well, let's go look at Matt's question. Matt Clark's question. Any chance of more variety in the daily quests? Win 3 earthquake matches, win 3 matches without legendaries, win 3 matches after round 20.
Yes, there's definitely a chance of that. That's one of those things that hasn't been a high priority, but would certainly be something that I'd want to add.
Yeah, that to me is just always one of those background things that we hope to see.
And some of them are a little difficult, win 3 earthquake matches. I guess then, we'd have to ensure that all your matches are earthquake until you complete the quest at least. And win 3 matches after round 20, that may be very difficult to actually do. So we don't want to put in quests that are not really completable. But, we can definitely come up with a whole bunch of different ideas for the daily quests that are doable and try to get those in.
Paul TRX is asking, when can we have the number of proxy cards increase for spellbook buyers? One of the main complaints from new players is not enough cards to start to make them competitive without having to buy more or rely on people delegating cards to them. Not everyone goes to Discord where we can help them. What about a proxy versions of all non-promo and non-alpha commons and rares?
Yeah, that's something that we've talked about or has been brought up here and considered. I'm definitely on board with it. One thing is, for example, with reward cards, what do we do with out of print cards? And, do we let people use only the cards that are currently in print as the proxy cards? And then if they go out of print, can they no longer use them anymore? Or can they also use all the out of print cards, which, in some ways might kind of dilute their value slightly. Obviously you'd only get, a level 1 version. So there's some things to consider there. And I guess it's the same for beta cards. Do we want new players to be able to use the older cards? But maybe, because then it would give them more incentive to maybe try to purchase those cards. So, it's just like all these things, I'll have to think about it a little bit before we just say, yes, we're going to go ahead and do it. But I do like the idea of it.
Fat Jimmy's asking, will payout for Brave tournaments be in a basic attention token?
No, they won't. They were initially planned to be, but due to the, obviously due to the gas fees issue, one, we didn't want to have to pay out like, $5 in prizes and spend $10 in gas fees to do that and have people just get stuck with, tokens that they can't move. So Brave still wanted to have the BAT requirement. You have to hold BAT in your Ethereum wallet to enter the tournament, because they do want to encourage BAT usage. That's the whole kind of point of this, and they're the ones putting up the prizes. But we did talk them into using dark energy crystals as the prizes. So the prizes will be paid out in dark energy crystals, and you can go, spend those however you want with no gas fees.
Blockchain Gaming Network is asking, we would like to do alternate art alpha set collection to be sold as a complete collection. We want to do the 4K and 8K renders to make prints available. We want all the proceeds from sales to go directly to an open source fund where the community votes on the next allocation of the fund. Is this something you would support? So that sounds like they want to do skins. So yeah, I'm interested in more skin stuff. Why don't we talk offline and try to figure out what that might look like? Anything to add, Matt?
Yeah, no, we can definitely support, we like to support those things, and, especially as much as possible if, the players can actually do them and run the project, we can add support, but it's hard for us to add too many resources since we're already pretty strapped with all the other stuff we have going on.
One thing just people are asking every so often about the SPT stuff. So putting on my Hive Engine hat for a moment, the one of the next goals is to go introduce NFTs into tribes. So there's already the Splinter Talk token tribe, and hopefully we'll be adding NFTs into that. And then once the NFTs are there, then we can start figuring out how could that work with skins and integrating the NFTs into the game as skins. What would work? How would that function? What would be official? What wouldn't? So that's some of my thoughts for where that's going. I think I'm hoping that Tribes 2.0 is done by the end of March. So one of the places I would expect it to go first is going to be Splinter Talk. So hopefully that'll give us some something to look forward to. For Freedom is asking, it has been getting harder and harder to make champion level. A few seasons ago, I could hit Champ 1 without too much trouble. Now I'm struggling to even hit Champ 3. Do you think that this is due to the changes to the ranking points, or is there a plan to fix this? Or do you think that there's have we done things that would make it substantially easier or harder to hit higher ranks?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any changes that would have affected that, but I guess I can't answer that until I know like what the actual issue or difference is. One thing I think, which I haven't verified, but some people reported that it seems that there are fewer bots playing at the higher leagues, which has made it harder to find matches at certain times or in certain situations. So that's something that I want to look into, but I haven't yet, so I can't confirm that. But I can keep it as something we should look at, and if you can provide any more information about what you're seeing as far as the differences there, that might help.
I am DVS 7500 is asking, I'm sorry I'm late. Kid Things held me up. I wanted, if I could, to take a moment to discuss the ease of access to dark energy crystals. To be quite honest, this is a really difficult and even confusing matter. I realize a lot of players have been here for a while, but there are many who are new to the game and crypto, and especially exchanges and trading. Is there any way that obtaining dark energy crystals and/or credits could be simplified that is still cost-effective to you and much more user-friendly? Obviously not with fiat as much with crypto. To further illustrate, my frustrations aren't mine alone because I see how often the questions come up in tech support about these issues. As a new player, I nearly left myself over the inability to upgrade at a reasonable pace. I really like the game. I would like to see it grow with newer and newer users. As a business owner myself, I understand there are costs that come with upgrades, but also that there is more new flow. So thoughts on ease of access to dark energy crystals?
Well, you mentioned dark energy crystals and credits, so we'll start with credits first. We try to obviously make that as simple as possible, and so if there's any difficulties, specific difficulties there, just you can let me know, and we'll try to fix them. But credits we offer you can just buy with PayPal or various cryptocurrencies, and it should be relatively easy in most cases, I think. But if not, there's specific things we can fix for that, then we will. Obtaining dark energy crystals is definitely harder because we don't sell those and aren't able to sell those, in any way, shape, or form. So, I've been trying to work with Simple Swap, which is just like a quick, cryptocurrency exchange platform, to be able to use that as a method to be able to purchase dark energy crystals with various cryptocurrencies. Like we currently have with Hive, you can currently click on the plus button next to dark energy crystals and spend Hive tokens. So I wanted to make that same experience with other tokens, but they've been kind of a pain. And even though I've been working with someone on their team, we've been running into a lot of issues there. So ultimately, yes, we want to make dark energy crystals as easy to get as possible, but we're kind of pretty limited by what's available and able to be done in the crypto space right now.
Hey, one thing we could probably do is DSwap. DSwap is just got other cryptos added to it. So this uses the Hive Engine decentralized exchange, and you can deposit Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Steam, Doge, EOS, maybe a couple others as well, and then it can convert that to DEC. So
if we can, just put me in touch with whoever's, can give me the technical info on that. And if we can get that added in, we totally will. But that's pretty, like, I don't see much more we can do as far as being able to buy dark energy crystals than cryptocurrency, transfers.
Yeah, DSwap should cover most of that. The guy is Lion 200. I'll put you two in touch.
Okay.
It's nice that all these things just magically appear sometimes. All right. Question. On Ethereum, there are various efforts to do their own second layer solution, like Gods Unchained, Immutable X. For the Splinterlands cards on Ethereum, like on OpenSea, is there a plan for them to remain on the primary Ethereum blockchain, or have there been thoughts about migrating to one of these second layers?
Yeah, we've definitely looked into some of the second layer solutions, but that's also not really a high priority for right now. Like, it has to make sense, and like it's going to be a bunch of work to build all that out, and there's going to be a bunch of cost and time, and so we have to, like we did with Wax, we identified like a clear, very valuable community and valuable opportunity to take advantage of. So we're not just going to randomly go and just implement some Ethereum second layer. We'll see if one gets very popular, and we can potentially work with that team to help promote it there if we do it. So it would make sense from a cost benefit standpoint.
And I'll go on record saying I love these things. Like, being on the Ethereum bridge wasn't fantastic just because gas fees are so high, but looking at Wax and all the activity on Wax and seeing it become a top 10 holder of cards, like that's awesome. And that's what we want to see. We want the utility of Hive, but being able to access capital markets that are bigger than Hive. So I'm thrilled by the Wax integration. I want to, as much as we can fit these things into the development roadmap, I'm going to advocate for them. I feel like they hit both development needs and also marketing needs. And it helps the players. I just think it's great advertising. The whole thing is beautiful. So I'm really stoked with the Wax integration and how well that's gone. And I don't know, whenever there's a chance for me to say, let's go do that, I will be pushing for those as they make sense.
Yeah, I think we also missed a question from the Xantanist on, clearly labeling proxy cards, which I think, is great. And, we should clearly label the proxy cards so, there isn't confusion there.
Yeah, good plan. Fat Jimmy's asking, is there any way Silver A tourneys can get a little more love with prize payouts? A full silver A deck is definitely not cheap, and it would be great to see a little more love here. 1K top prizes is barely worth the time, especially if playing more to enter if I'm using my main account with a maxed A deck. Lower place payouts even more so. I like the fun of alpha tournaments, but a little more win incentive would be really nice. A's are getting pricey. So we just did a big update. We put in a lot of changes. If there are more changes, I actually think this is an okay place to raise them, and it's totally fine that you shared it and said that's one of the things you're looking for. I would just say bring that back into that tourneys discussion and see if you can get the other players on board. I'm gonna build these tournaments out through the rest of March and at least April. People like when I make a lot of changes to tournaments. It just is a little bit messy. Too many little details here and there, and I tell you, it fills up my entire screen. It takes hours to do, and then when I get things wrong, the players are upset. So I have like a minimum of let's do 2 months of the same thing, and then after those 2 months, we can look at changing. So in about 6 weeks, not March, but the middle of April, I'm open to. Are there any more needs or concerns? So let's give that another 6 weeks or so, and but start the conversation now, because 6 weeks from now, I'm willing to hear out the players in terms of what should be added to the next 2 month cycle of cards. Or not cards, of tournaments. Yeah, Brazanthus is asking when Brawler. I don't know what happened. All my tournaments on my Google Chrome got deleted. So I got to finish making the tournaments for the rest of March, and then I'm going to go look back and see what I was doing for Brawler, and then try to get those added again. But I'm not sure if I did it or the game did it or something, but all my tournaments got deleted. So I got to look for it and put it back in. But I put the current tournaments as a higher priority, so I have a little bit more work to do for that. Dave McCoy is asking, do you still have the guy from Farmville as an advisor? If so, can you please explain how that benefits you? Also, can you explain what you're doing relative to more programmers? Are you looking to add more so we can move these things even faster? So, yeah, the guy's name is Eric. He's awesome. He's part of Gala Games. We communicate with them all the time. I get introductions to powerful people with lots of money because of him. I get, or the game gets like promotion ideas and opportunities. They buy boosts for like Digicon, and now they're going to go spread it to their community. They bring Ethereum people here. It's actually really nice, and he's one of the coolest dudes that I've met in crypto. And then what we're doing to get more programmers. Matt, is there anything you want to talk about for getting more programmers?
I will say yes, we are planning to increase the development team in the very near future.
All right, that's the answer for now. Is there a possibility that more options could be added to ranked battles, such as being able to customize your match and choose your fight type, monolimits, etc.?
I'm not sure. Definitely not to ranked battles, but if you're asking about challenge battles, then that's something that a bunch of people have asked about, and again, it's a matter of just getting time and priorities to get it in, but I don't see any reason why we wouldn't add that to challenge battles specifically.
Okay. Biz is asking, several players have expressed concern that Splinterlands is missing out on the current NFT craze, and that other blockchain games are leaving Splinterlands behind. What are your thoughts and perspective about these worries? Do you want to go first or second here, Matt?
Oh, I don't care.
I mean, my take is that things are actually doing pretty well. We're seeing a healthy amount of new players. We're seeing fewer bots, and I think that's good for the game. It's good to have some, just so that there's some amount of like battle liquidity, but you don't want like an excessive amount. And I think we're seeing more humans play, so that's good. Again, I have some big things that I'm hoping to roll out for March. They're heavily promotional, and then there's other big deals later down. But I don't want to hype them, because like sometimes the things that I've hyped have not been like as phenomenal as I've hoped, and I don't want to come in too early on these. So there are some pretty big initiatives that I think you guys will see, and it should be in March. And but it's not completely finalized, so I still got to hold back on that a little bit. But generally speaking, we're seeing the market is being really active. We're seeing new players. I'm seeing new buyers. I mean, I see lots of good things. Maybe there could be even more good things, faster, better, gooder, more things. But this has been a phenomenal start to the year by all of our metrics.
Yeah, I mean, and I see the same thing also. There's like lots of big news stories and things about, $1 million NFT purchases and all this other big stuff. We have a lot of, challenges there in the sense that, one, we're not an Ethereum based game, and two, we don't have, $5 or $10 million, worth of investment to do the level of marketing or, get a we don't currently have a deal with the NBA, like NBA Top Shot or things like that, which may allow us to take advantage of that better. But on the flip side, I think the NFT craze, it's sort of like the ICO craze in a lot of ways, in that all this money is coming in, there's all this hype, and I don't think most of them are going to live up to the hype. And I think it's going to look like kind of a wasted investment. I'm guessing a lot of the people spending this money on the NFTs just have a ton of money, and so maybe it's not that big of a deal to them. But I don't think it's going to really end up being worth it in the long run for a lot of this stuff. It just doesn't really have much behind it. It's like, oh, someone just bought this NFT art, or someone just bought these random things and random games that don't really do much and aren't really worth the hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Now, so I'm looking at our, what I'm really excited about Splinterlands in particular. In fact, Jimmy mentioned that Land is a huge NFT event. I want our NFTs to be, the ones that kind of really do well long term. So not just that spike really high during the craze and then crash to nothing like a lot of the ICOs, but I want ours to be the few ones where, they didn't maybe have a big craze, but they actually have significant value for a long amount of time, so that there's not spikes and crashes, but more steady increase over time. And I think having the system that we've planned for the Land, where the NFTs are actually used to mint the new cards that are going to be in the game, is going to drive value to them longer term. So yes, in a lot of ways we're missing the craze right now, but I also, we're not going to just rush out and throw out a bunch of NFTs, with no real good plan, just to try to, get some money there, which is also going to be harder for us without the partnerships or, even being off of Ethereum. So, I think the short version of all of that is we're trying to look longer term for this, but, we are definitely trying to position ourselves to have really strong NFTs over the long term, over a year or 2 years from now. And I think we've talked about this in the past, but our cards obviously are NFTs, but they tend to be lower value because there's always more of them, and you can always buy the newest packs at $2. But the Land, that's not the case, and our goal for the Land is to have some really big sales, 5, 6 figures, potentially more if possible, because they're going to be really scarce, and it's not like you're going to always be able to buy Land in the shop. Once it runs out, and that's that. So, I hope there's going to be some big hype and big sales, down the road for Splinterlands, but it's definitely not right now.
Matt Clark is asking, Matt Clark is asking, are challenges coming to mobile at any point?
Yes, they're one of, pretty much everything that is currently in desktop that's not in mobile is on the to-do list for mobile. I haven't found that one to be a high priority because it's not something that the majority of players utilize. So we wanted to focus on other things like tournaments and the new guild brawls and stuff. But yeah, we want to get everything that's on the desktop added to mobile at some point.
Steve is asking, on Wax, our planet has started NFT staking for rewards. Others plan to do this, and Binance Smart Chain is also starting NFT staking any chance you might get one of those projects to add Splinterlands cards to list of projects you can stake? I mean, we can try to reach out to some of these groups. I don't have a direct contact for our planet, but yeah, we can try to reach out to these guys.
Yeah, we should have someone at least just see if we can work together. Since our cards are already on wax, that should be an easy one.
This is part of why I like Digicon, because Digicon is meant to go build all these relationships, so that right now I say I don't know those people, and then hopefully, this time or next time we're like, oh, they had a booth with us, and then the next time it's like, oh, they have a booth with us, and now they're staking our stuff. So I think having Digicon is a nice addition, and that's coming up. I think it's the 13th. So and it looks like Carrie Allen's here, so I'm going to reserve a couple minutes for her at the end. Actually, we have a couple more questions. I want to go through those, and I want to give Nate a couple minutes to go talk about some of the new art that's come. So I'm going to unmute Nate now, and then hopefully in the next little bit he'll be able to go provide us some sweet progress report. All right, question. Since we are now into March, when will we get an updated roadmap?
I'll try to put an updated roadmap in our next, just general updates post.
Okay, question.
Other than what we talk about on the calls, but yeah.
I think it's just formalizing. It's not like it's going to be, here's what we've been saying for months, and then here's what we put out as a post. It's just, here's the plan. Now it's documented somewhere. That's fine.
Yeah.
Blackheart's asking, can Splinterlands wiki link be added to the FAQ or getting started in the future once it's more informative?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any helpful third-party sites we can link to. There's no reason not to, in my opinion.
All right. Jakai's asking, Hoskinson from Cardano is rather active on Twitter. Wouldn't it be worth trying to get his attention with the aim of any cooperation with Cardano too? In future, as there are smart contracts on Cardano, it will be like Ethereum, just better. So, working with all of these people is great. It's a matter of where can we fit it in? What are the partnerships that exist? I mean, if anybody has connections or want like friends or something that they're already connected, you're certainly welcome to try to introduce me to folks. I am aware of this person. I have not met them personally. So, but we're constantly reaching out. And again, this is the kind of thing that Digicon is great for. Why don't you have a booth? Why don't you talk about Cardano? Oh, hey, why don't we talk about how Cardano and Splinterlands can be integrated? Dave McCoy is asking, a lot of people think that we are on the verge of real inflation in the world. Would you adjust the $2 per pack price upwards if we have real world inflation?
I mean, possibly, it's possible that we wouldn't change it during like the Untamed series, definitely. But if by the time Chaos Legion's ready, if it seems like, $2 doesn't make sense, whether it's because of inflation or whatever reason, then we would adjust as necessary. But I would say definitely not like in the middle of a series there.
And we're almost not, we're not really at the middle. I mean, there's 500,000 packs or a little bit over that. And we are nearing the, this is the final third. So we're getting down, maybe not quite at the wire, but we are certainly beyond halfway, and hopefully there's a little bit of just the tiniest hint of FOMO kind of creeping into folks. I always hate, I don't know how to say this. Kazrak? We are at 82,500 Untamed packs sold again. Is the Dragon Summoner ready, and do you have a sneak peek for us?
I'm not ready to show the artwork, but the design, rights for that were purchased by Byzantinists. So I can say, use your imagination on what he might create. And all I can say is it's going to be our cutest card ever.
Yeah, it's going to be adorbs. You guys are going to...
Yeah, I say it doesn't really fit in very well with the Dragon Splinter, but I'm sure our lore masters will work with him to come up with some great story about this cat dragon thing.
Hilarious. Okay, so next up, hey Nate, are you there by chance? Are you able to speak and say hi?
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, it's good to hear your voice. Nate, do you want to introduce yourself in case people don't know who you are, and then maybe do a little show and tell for the awesome things that you've been producing?
Yeah, sure. I am Nate Aguila. Player name and Hive account Nate Aguila smushed together, and I am the creative director for Splinterlands. I oversee a lot of basically, if it's creative, then I have my hand on it. So, um, and just to speak real quick about the NFT stuff, I am totally in sync with the people who think that Finland should be not ignored in this huge NFT craze. And although, like Yaba said, we're not going to invest a ton load of time and money and resources at you know trying to toot our own horn. There is some low hanging fruit, and I'll talk to Aggroed and Yaba about maybe even just coming up with some just quick marketing graphics, just to point people in the right direction. Because I know, like a few days ago, I did a Hive blog post just counting off a few of the reasons why Splinterlands is by far the sleeping giant in the NFT space, the king of the hill once the dust settles for so many reasons. So,
Can I just
um,
jump in with something about NFTs that I forgot to mention?
yeah.
Is that we did also announce as part of the Brave partnership that we are going to be doing an NFT series with them. And they're also going to help promote it, and they have a larger reach than we do. So that's, it'll be probably a month or so out, but we are trying to take advantage of the NFT craze as much as possible, and in a way that makes sense, and provides actual value for people.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I think Brave sold out of their original NFTs like in no time flat, right? So,
Yes.
and then people can't ignore, even though we have promotional NFTs we might be doing like with Brave and stuff. The cards themselves represent probably the NFTs that have the most utility in the world, the most accessibility, the most liquidity, the most compatibility with the most blockchain platforms. I mean, by far, anyone who looks at NFTs and say, huh, what's the best one? I mean, other than just wanting to own digital artwork, what can it do? Geez, I mean, there's no comparison, guys. So, uh, I mean, we'll maybe we can throw out some marketing just to kind of highlight those facts to people out in the Twitterverse. But yeah, let me find some artwork.
Yeah,
So
well, while you're finding artwork, I just also want to say that's also what I meant. The use case. There's a craze right now, and like there was with an ICO craze, and a lot of money going into a lot of things. And I think in most cases, those things are going to end up being mostly worthless. Just like a lot of the ICOs were. So again, we're trying to build for like real long-term future value of these things, not just, hey, we're throwing out a bunch of stuff. They don't do anything, but pay a lot of money for them because they're limited. We're going to throw out a bunch of stuff that's part of a hopefully well-designed game system that actually, that they produce value, and they farm, tokens that actually people want for their utility in the game. So that's where we are there.
cool. And just to highlight, since we're talking about NFTs, you guys should be aware of this fact. As a creative director, I'm quite excited about the fact actually. The next airdrop card, if you want to be part of Splinterland's history, will represent the very first card to kind of reflect the new artistic direction that we're going to have going forward. So the artwork it is the same, similar to all the other artwork, but you'll notice a little bit more polish, a little bit better colorization, a little bit better of everything, because we are taking things to the next level. So that is going to represent our first step towards a new artistic direction for Splinterlands as a whole, and the artwork that we're going to be producing for future card expansion. So take note of that. The Here is, I don't remember what I shared and not shared, so I'm just going to throw some stuff at the wall. This is concept art for some. If you have Magic Land and you want to extract magic out of the land, here is some examples of where you would store that mana. For brawls, I know we're working on. I don't know what I've showed. Let me see. Here is a quick snippet of some of the buildings that will be introduced with brawls. both reimagining the existing buildings and the new buildings, along with their, a little quick snapshot of their landscape behind them. As far as land, we are. I just got off a call actually with Yaba earlier today about the next steps towards getting closer to implementation for you guys having those plots distributed and having you guys being able to visualize that on the screen, see where exactly in Praetoria your plot's going to be. So I'm not going to show a lot because we're still in the planning stage, but I was able to crop off little snippets here and there. So, like for example, here is, once you get past the world view, you got Praetoria itself as a continent split up into regions. What we're doing is we're pinpointing where in Praetoria can we find the most diverse, geographically diverse areas. That way, not only is it more likely that explorers would seek out those parts of the continent, but we wanted to make sure that players had a certain threshold of diversification for plots in case they bought a tract or a region. They weren't all stuck with just the same geography type. Once you zoom in, you're going to end up looking something similar like this. You'll notice that you see the map, the vector map behind it, and the plots themselves will reflect what was on the map behind it, but in a pixelated view, and a little, since looks a little Minecrafty there. So we're probably going to change up the red spots, which is where the keeps and castle go, and add a little graphic, a little icon to kind of make it look cooler. Yeah, but wanted to make sure we did that. The stronger aligned strokes represent tracks. So each region is split up into 10 tracks, and as you can see, we're going to provide filters so that you can see, well, which of these is mine? And, we'll make sure that we have, or maybe you want to see, well, I only want to see the forest in this region. Then, certain ones will dim and other ones will light up. So that's pretty exciting. If you were to click on one of the plots in that little hexagonal grid, then you're going to zoom in even further, and you're going to end up looking at, something similar to this. Where you're constructing your building. So as you can see, you're zooming closer and closer, almost like Google Maps, where you got that street view look. Of course, Google Maps normally doesn't let you go full creeper status and go into the building, which is what we're going to actually do as well. But I'm not going to show that today because we're still planning that out. But yeah, eventually you will be able to, not only you go from clicking on the region and that blowing up, you click on a plot, that blows up. You click on the building and then that blows up and you're inside the building, and we're going to get into that, and we'll show that in the future. But that's what I got so far. I want to make sure I leave just a few minutes of time if Carrie's going to talk, or you guys have anything else.
No, this is great. This stuff looks gorgeous. Hopefully the players are pretty stoked of the visual development of the game, and hopefully you guys are getting a sense of what it is that you're doing in the game. Collecting cars, managing your territory, improving buildings, harvesting resources, crafting stuff. Like, the whole thing it's nice to see this coming together. Okay, yep. So next AMA, what do I have here for that? I have it in the evening. Matt, you good with 8 p.m. next time, Friday the 12th?
Hold on, checking calendar to make sure. Oh, yeah, you already put it there. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, perfect. All right, so now, Carrie, maybe you want to go talk a little bit about Digicon. We got a couple minutes before we close out. Oh, I got to unmute you. Give me a second here. Carrie, you're up. You got a couple minutes. Hello. How are things?
Hello. Things are excellent. We are rolling down our Digicon hill right now. So the date for Digicon is next Saturday, so a week from tomorrow. It's going to be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That starts at 3 p.m. UTC. For those of you around the world, you can look it up that way. So I do want to just give you guys a tiny bit of information of the cool stuff that we have planned. It's going to be pretty epic, I think. So for one, I think Chris is going to help me drop some things. We do have a rare one-of-one sketch from some artwork for Splinterlands that we're going to auction at the NFT auction. I think Chris might blop that in there for you guys as well. So yeah, we'll be auctioning off some fun NFTs, including into the segue for ultrarare.uk. If you guys aren't familiar with them, you can just type that into your web bar and then you'll be able to find the link to them. We have partnered with Ultra Rare and we are working on something super duper scary that we will be releasing and announcing that day. We'll have a special drop as well as an auction for something, and then there's also going to be something special that goes up on Splinterlands website that day right after Digicon is open, so the folks that are there at Digicon will be the first to know and first to see what happens. Let's see, so we also have some fun things that are going to happen inside of Digicon, so it's really, we're gamifying it more and more. So not only are you able to come in, meet people, hang out, make connections, but you get to play. There's lots of fun stuff to do. So one of the things that we're going to do is Beat a Pro. It's the challenge booth that will be located inside. Oh, Chris put in the biggest fish. So there's fishing inside the event. There's roasting marshmallows. There's dancing. There's visiting all the different booths. All of these things have been gamified. Oh, there's Star Collection. So all of these things we've gamified, and you are going to be getting rewarded with NFTs. We're going to be minting these on the Wax blockchain for NFTs. It's free to mint over there, and we can do front and backs. So that makes it a lot of fun for us to be able to do a front with like a back description on these NFTs. So yeah, there's the Pyromaniac badge. So you can figure out what you have to do to get that. In the Beta Pro booth, or the challenge booth, what we're going to do is we have some pro Splinterland players who we've already got scheduled up and ready to go, where you can go challenge them. And if you win, then you're going to get a special NFT as well for doing that. So you'll have bragging rights. Plus that NFT is going to be available for a special tournament in the future, for a Splinterlands tournament that you can only enter if you beat that pro. So the things that Chris is popping in are just some of the things, the NFTs that we're going to be giving out for all these little gamifications that we're doing. And let's see, I will be doing a post from Hive later today on our last call for booth applications. We do have a full house as is with the room setting, but I am ready and willing to add another room or two inside the Digicon event space and bring in more booth holders even. I am going to accept booths until Tuesday this next week, and I'll have that post out on Hive pretty soon here to let everybody know all the details. If you or someone you know or has a project or something that they think they might want a booth space for, go ahead and reach out to me, Carrie@splinterlands.com, and we can see what we can do and get you all set up so that we can get everyone in the environment. There are about 150 people signed up for it right now. It will hold 500 people, but you'll want to make sure that you show up to get all of these possible badges and achievements for just hanging out in the space. We'll also have 5 speakers just right inside of Digicon as well. So we're going to have a Gala Games talk, we're going to have Splinterlands, it's going to be Aggroed talk, we're going to have Market Square in there, Womplay, which is Spielworks, and Superworld, which maybe you guys haven't even heard of yet. So we've got a lot of interesting things planned for Digicon. I'm stoked. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's always fun when we're inside Gamer Jibe. So yeah, at the very least, it's free for everybody to attend and enter. Just show up. It's Saturday, March 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m. We'll probably go a little bit longer than that. I'll leave the space open for everybody because it's hard to leave once you've been having so much fun. And if anybody has questions or anything like that, feel free to send me a message here in Discord, or you can email me again at Carrie@splinterlands.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
There's a lot to be excited about for Digicon. And, you know, the partnerships that we make here are the promotions that happen later. So please show up. Please show up strong and say hi, be polite, be kind, be welcoming, because all of the more friendly we are, the more welcoming we are, and the more helpful we are, and the more like present we are, that only helps us as a business and as a community. Because we want people to come and be like, wow, Digicon is awesome. Let's go get a booth and let's set up there and let's set up shop and let's get to know these folks more. So hopefully you guys will be there, and you know you can actually go live on camera. So dress up, you know, come in style, and but mostly, you know, try to be as kind and welcoming as possible, because we just want partnerships to happen. And if we show up as a large group and we are a nice group to work with, then I imagine that these things are there's more promotions possible. and more opportunities available to us, and there's more growth. So we've reached the end of the hour. Matt, are there things that you would like to close up shop with?
I just go back to the whole NFT craze and, us kind of building more for the future. I feel like, in general, we've been growing. This year has definitely, in the first 2 months already, has been the best of any year that we've, I guess the other 2 years that we've been around. So it's already starting to look good. And I feel like, we have a few things, in plans this year. Land is one of them that can just really jumpstart things. I think a lot of times in this type of business, something will just click and start to make the growth really kick into high gear. And we have a few shots at that this year, versus previous years where there would maybe be like, one thing, like a new set of cards coming out or whatever. But I think this year we're going to have kind of more bigger things that are coming in conjunction with the whole crypto bull market that we appear to be in. So, we can't obviously forecast what's going to happen in the future. Anything can go any way, and nothing is, any type of advice. But we're all very excited for this year in particular, and I don't want to go like too crazy trying to catch the next little craze, and just keep our focus on building for the long term.
Yeah, we built something pretty awesome here, and we just want to keep it going, and we want to keep it growing in a sane pathway. We don't want to see new players rush in and get burned. We just want to see a nice, steady growth. We've seen that so far in the first 2 months. It's been great, and hopefully as more people find us, I get all these emails, and I guess they're more Discord messages, but I get a bunch of Discord messages being like, I've been all around in all the different blockchain applications, and this one by far does the most of any of these projects. So, I felt for a while that we're just kind of like one big break away. We just need one good partnership, one good deal, one good friend, one good streamer, YouTuber, or something. I who knows, but that's my gut feeling. Use that for entertainment purposes. But I love this thing. I think we've done great, and I do think that there's some things that are around the corner. I wish I could talk about them more openly, but we're pretty close, and I'm feeling like there's some big opportunities, especially for people in our community. You guys are going to know about it first, but then also, as we try to find more friends outside of the Splinterlands. So, in general, thank you for being here. Thank you for being welcoming to new players. Thank you for allowing Matt and I and our whole team to work on this full time. Being blockchain entrepreneurs is awesome. That's living the dream. It's even hashtag living the dream. So, thanks, guys. We're just going to keep building and keep making friends, and hopefully you guys will all keep reaping the rewards. So, thanks so much. That brings this one to a close. We'll see you in a week at the later time at 8 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we'll see you at DigiCon as well. Thanks, guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.